Log into gyroscopeme.com, the hottest online radio station in the world. GS Radio all day, all night, worldwide. Powered by Gyroscope Media Group, LLC.
GS Radio, the best internet radio station worldwide. Providing the best in music and talk shows. Go to www.gsradionj.com and check out the best internet station in the world. You're listening to GS Radio, internet radio station powered by GMG, LLC.
In the beginning, there was Jack. And Jack had a groove, and after a while, a deep sleep fell upon him, and he went looking for a new groove. He began looking for a new nation, and it had to be a soulful nation. And he found it, and it was Soulful House Nation. And he saw a building. It was a tall building. It had 10 stories, and he entered the building and got on the elevator and pushed the 10th floor, but it stopped on the 8th floor. And that's where he found his new groove. And he began to jack and jack and jack and jack. And he knew that this was it. It was Soulful House Nation on the 8th floor. Get ready, get ready, get ready.
Just a quick recap. Hey, go back and check out our last show. We had Harry on. Harry, I call him Harry the interviewer. And he shared a lot of things with us, of course, about some stuff that's coming, some stuff that we're really excited about. Next, we want to do, we're going to play the #1 song according to Track Source in the Soulful House category. Then after that, we're going to give you some updates. We're going to play our old school track of the week, and then we're going to get into some conversation. So now, right now, just got a couple things and ask everybody to share. Share to your people you know, share to your pages, etc., etc., etc. All right, let's do this. Let's play the #1 song according to Track Source in the Soulful House category. This is by David Bailey and Miss Fly. It's called You Don't Know. As usual, we're only going to play a little bit, a snippet of it, because Facebook has this nasty little habit of shutting us down and muting us out. Choc, would you play a little for us? Give us some. This is called You Don't Know.
Tide moves fast, but you can't swim yet. But you're moving on. Do you know what's going on?
Get ready, get ready, jump. DJ Dan, Soulful House Nation coming to you live from the 8th floor. Hey, listen, as usual, we only play a snippet because Facebook has this nasty little habit of shutting us down and muting us out. Hey, Bernie Grateful, what's up? How you doing? Okay. Hey, listen to this. I want to share some thoughts with you. We're going to have a little bit of fun today. We're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to do, instead of bringing an outside guest today, I have some things that I'd like to go over with you guys, and I need you to be interactive in the chat because we're going to cover some different things. Now, let's start off with yesterday. Okay, as you know, most of the events, at least the outdoor events, were canceled. I'd say most were canceled because of the weather on Saturday. But on Sunday, they did make up for it. I personally went to the event with Ubiquity of Soul, their closeout, T-Wise, and I want to tell you, I had a great time there. I connected with people, a lot of people there. Great turnout, great music. So kudos to Tim Wise and his group, Ubiquity of Soul. Now, some other things that are coming up, October 4th, which is later in the week, Mayor's Ball in Irvington. That's Tony Voss. And it's Nanina's in the Park is where it is. Antoine Quine is going to be the DJ. And then, of course, you got Q Parker from 112 performing. On October 6th, you got House in the Hudson Yards. I know Amir's going to be on there, and you know he always brings it. And Kervin Martz is going to be there. Of course, he's going to bring it. He's the one, I believe, is behind it. Then October 7th, you got Gary Salim. He's got the thing Fox is going. He's got a whole thing going there. Check that out. October 7th, free ride, the 8th Annual House Music Festival. That's Ricky Clark and that group. So you know, again, he always brings it. These are just like good things that are happening. October 11th at Dolce. That's Guy Flash and his team. And they're going to bring in Anaya Weathers, this is really going to be her farewell, part of her farewell tour. She's going to be relocating. And they're going to have a special event with her performing. And, of course, Eddie Nicholas will be the MC. So you're in good shape there. By the way, I need to tell you, too, on Sunday yesterday, Roz Anthony was the MC. And I don't even have to tell you. Okay, this Friday, look for me on KMTV from 4 to 6. We're going to be playing a combination of new music, current stuff, and we're going to slip some classics in there. So look for us on Friday between 4 and 6. Then on the 23rd, on the 14th, going to be doing an appreciation night for me, and which caught me by surprise. On that ticket I'll be on the ticket, I'll be DJing. We also have, you can see, a lot of people only know me for interviews, but they don't realize that I've been DJing way before this whole idea of interviewing came about. So I'm going to be playing. Then also you got Mac Attack's going to be playing. You got Soulful Messiah playing, and then our special guest artist is Anaya Weathers. So that's happening. And then who knows what's going to happen after that. But we're just going to go in there and have a good time. It's going to be on the 14th of October, and that's going to be 505 Clinton Avenue in Newark from 5 to 10. So come out. Then also DJ Unique is back. So he's back, and you can he's got a new event. He's starting up his events again, and he's going to be at used to be the Hollywood Blue Ribbon. He's going to be at that place. There's a new name for it now. Unfortunately, I don't remember it, but that's okay. DJ Sister Love, Commodore Park, and that's Mark Francis, DJ Jawandi, DJ Ceres, and of course she's going to be getting it in too. So we got a lot of stuff going, and that's just for the first part of the month. Hey, September is a busy month for people born in September. Here's just a few of them. You got Craig Oliver. Craig Oliver was my original DJ mentor. So I always like to acknowledge him because it was listening to him and taking pointers from him that I learned how to DJ and how to mix and blend. So it was his birthday. And Antonio Ocasio just had a birthday. Bernard and Kennedy are buddies from back in the day. Winston Martin is actually a deacon in my church, so I just want to acknowledge him. Ruben Toro's birthday this week. Then you got DJ Mona Lisa Inda Soul. Adam Cruz, not only a DJ, producer, and author. So he just had a birthday. Then Donald Davis out of Jersey City, another birthday. Tracy Levine out of the Pennsylvania area, birthday. Dope DJ. And then Wayne Cozart, another DJ. So just a lot of stuff happening. So Choc, I want you to play our old school track. But before I do that, I just want to give a big shout out to King T Finesse and Ariel Shante. I always like to do that before I get the show really going, because those are the ones that put my theme song together. I also want to give a big shout out to Chuck Roberts. Chuck Roberts is the one who did In the Beginning. And I think maybe I'm the only person in the world that has another thing that he did in his voice. And it's really, really dope. And it's about Soulful House Nation. All right. Now, I want to do this. I want to play a little bit of the old school song, and then we're going to get into the show. All right. So, Choc, here we go. This is French Kiss, Louis Vega. Facebook is this nasty little habit of shutting us down and muting us out, so that's we back it down. Hey, listen, right now as we speak, hey, we're on Facebook, but hey, keep in mind we're on Twitch, we're on Twitter, we're on Vimeo, we're on YouTube, we're on the website, so we're in multiple locations right now. But share. So listen, as I said, we're going to do a little something a little bit different. Usually we have a guest, and but sometimes I just want to have conversations and talk about some of the things. And that's what I want to do today. And what I'd like to do for whoever is in the chat room or whichever chat room, just to kind of have conversations around some of these things that are going on. But first, for those of you who don't know me, I want to introduce me and I want to introduce Choc. My name's Dan Shiver, DJ Dan, Soulful House Nation. I own a DJ company. I do a lot of parties, but that's open set parties. The company's called Dan Music, and we do a lot of stuff. Open set, weddings, anniversaries, bar mitzvahs, celebrations, holiday parties, corporate events. I mean, for example, another Saturday I have another corporate event. I do stuff with kids. So, for example, this Saturday we do stuff with kids. I'll be playing kid games and things of that nature. So that's kind of my background with that. I'm born and raised in Paterson, New Jersey. Love that place. Still love that place. And got started in music. Actually, my aunt got me started in music as a little kid, and she was up to date. Now, I got to tell you, there's two kinds of parents if you think about it. You have the up to date parents, and then you got, I'm gonna call them the not so up to date parents. So let me give you an example. So up to date parents would know about, say, some of the current music. They would know about Usher. They would know about R. Kelly. They would know about Next or any of these groups. Or now the not so up to date ones would not know about that. Now they know about Michael Jackson only because he's in the news. So I grew up with not so up to date parents. A lot of people come on this show and they say, when I got in, I come from a musical family. I didn't. I have to thank my aunt. I have actually two aunts that really got me in the flow of music. That was Aunt Seal and Aunt Bert. So those are the two that really got me going. And then later on, I got into this thing about, hey, I like the music thing, and I was buying. I'm gonna date myself. I was buying records, and then my friend Craig, who is actually my longest running friend. We've been friends since kids, so really we're brothers as far as I'm concerned. And he was DJing, so I'd go by his house and I'd see him doing that. And of course, I got interested in that and started DJing. So this is going back many, many moons. So a lot of people in the house music community know me from interviews, but many of them, even after I say the name DJ Dan Dan, are not connecting my DJing, which was way before interviewing, to me. So that's good and that's bad. It's good because, it's kind of, I guess, raises your visibility. And my ultimate goal with house music is take it to the public, and I'd like to see it go mainstream. That's really where I want to go with this. But the downside of it is that many times people only think of me as an interviewer, but I'm a DJ first. If I had to choose back against the wall, had to do one or the other, I'm going to take DJing every time. That's a little bit about me. And as far as my early influences, I got to say, I listen to all the stuff that people grew up, but in terms of DJing, it definitely was Craig Oliver. But now watch this. I come out of, too, a heavy, and you'll find, now, here's where Craig and I were a little different. Craig was more on the club and then eventually house side. And I was into the club, kind of got into house later, but I was heavy into hip-hop and R&B. And I'll tell you, what's pretty interesting is with all the DJs that I've interviewed, I'd say even to a person and the producers and the promoters, hip-hop and R&B is heavy in their background. So, and I came out the same thing. So what I want to do, I want to introduce to Choc, and then after I introduce you to Choc, we're going to get heavier into it. I'm going to tell you where I think this thing is going. Just some things that are on the table, and I just want to discuss some things that are going on and some things that I see. So Choc, why don't you chime in?
I'm here.
Hey Choc, how are you?
What's
so
up?
Again, everybody doesn't know you. Tell us a little bit about you.
Choc, DJ, musician, radio station owner, TV station owner. That's a little brief introduction.
Now, where are you from originally?
Inglewood, New Jersey,
The
born
Wood,
and raised.
okay. So now, what made you DJ or decide to DJ instead of just listening to music?
Well, I seen this guy. His DJ name was DJ Nando Nice. I was in the band, and he was in the band. He was a senior when I was a freshman. So he was in the band room, and he had set up his equipment, and he was doing this cut called the stutter cut. You know, it's like a person stuttering. But he was doing it so well that he was having a conversation with somebody and cutting at the same time. And he didn't miss a beat. So I said, oh, man, I want to learn how to do that. Plus, I saw it as an avenue for me getting out of the house because my parents were strict and I couldn't do nothing. So he took me under his wing, and the rest is, you know, history.
All right. Now, after Netto, who were some of your early music and DJ influences?
Of course, DJ Marley Marl, Red Alert, Chuck Chill Out, Kid Capri, Ron G later on, you know. Who was it? Tony Humphries.
Sure.
That came on after Marley Marl and them. You know, that was what, the 12 o'clock? What, 12 to 1 or 12 to 2, something like that. So those guys really helped. You know, well, I guess even before I even started DJing, helped mold me into, you know, learning the music and, you know, this and that. Those was people. Hometown person, this guy named Ronald Baker. He used to do all of the school parties when I was coming up. So, you know, watching them, and it was like, okay, you know, but seeing Nando doing that cut really took me over the edge of saying I gotta do this.
Now, how about this? You came out of a hip hop and R&B background too.
Yeah.
Now, it's not that you weren't aware of house music, but that really, I don't know that you really were like, okay, so this has got to be a part of my routine, a part of my sets, or anything like that.
Well,
what?
Nando, DJ Nando, he was into house music. Well, he is still, because he's still living. So I would hear house music, you know, when going over to his house to practice or whatever, and when he be playing or making a tape, he'll play it. You know, I never forget him playing Break for Love and Video Crash, and You Used to Know How to Love Me Right. You know, all that whole era. So I knew about it, but you know, in the area that we stayed, they wasn't big house music fans. They was more of the R&B, rap. They was starting to get into the reggae. You know, so that's basically what I gravitated to, because that's the area that I started out in. But I knew of it,
Right.
You know, I just never played it like that back then.
So what took you from knowing about it, maybe listening here and there, to, yo, man, I got to get on this? And then now you're playing it, you have sets of it with your crowds too. So where?
I think years later, with me DJing, it was like I was getting more or back into the aspect of being a promoter, partying. You know, know a bunch of DJs. Let's all come together and you know, make money. And what I started to realize, shout out to DJ Groove, DJ LJ, DJ Get 'em, they was playing house music, you know, like heavy. Groove been all around the world, you know, same with the other two guys, Get 'em and LJ. And I said, well, I got to go against the grain and bring house music to Bergen County, because there's a lot of people in Bergen County that likes house music, but the DJs around here wasn't playing it because it's still, you know, the R&B, hip hop, reggae thing now, Afro beats, you know. But this was before COVID, You know, I was in the process, and because we was going to do something, of basically just bringing the house music situation into Bergen County. Due to COVID, we wasn't able to do that, but that woke me up as to see how many people in Bergen County actually liked house music, and it was as talking to them, they really couldn't. I know a lot of house events, people don't drink and stuff down there, but the ones that do drink, they couldn't drink because it was like an hour and some change away, down in Passaic, South Jersey area where you guys be, doing the events, festivals at. So the situation that I had put together was we was going to be in the Holiday Inn, which they could rent their rooms, and it was going to be a day party to like maybe 10, 11 o'clock at night. And if for those that wanted to stay, if they wanted to drink, they could rent a room and just go right upstairs, sleep it off, and then go home the next day. But my thing was, it was, and it's still, I still want to do it. I'm still going to do it. But it's just bringing it to this area more than what it has. I mean, and as you said, I've incorporated it in my sets because, not telling my age.
You're a young man like me. Go ahead.
The crowds are diverse now, so you just don't have to do, your R&B and your rap music and this and that. You got more people that appreciate the house music. So it's slowly but for surely coming, but I really want to blow it out the water and boom. So going against the grain is what I have to do.
Okay. Hey, Joy, how you doing? Folks, share to your friends, share to your pages, share to your groups. Yeah, we're having a conversation again. If you just joined us, we're having a conversation about what's going on with the house music stuff. Just to introduce Choc. Both of us had a chance to introduce ourselves. And what I want to do is I'd like to get you guys to join in the discussion. We're going to talk about some stuff going on and things of that nature. Let's just take a minute here, and let me just tell you where I see house music headed. I see house music headed more and more to the mainstream. And the reason I'm saying that is because, take for example, last night, literally hundreds of people, probably 1,000 people during the course of the day came through there. Now, there are people who have, I'm going to say, reach and influence. And there's people who have reach and influence, but also have media access, etc. I believe at some point, somebody is going to see this and say, hey, look, and a combination of us continuing to push the culture. Okay. Remember, everything that goes mainstream started underground. Whether it's rock and roll, whether it's hip hop, whether it's reggae, whether it's dancehall style reggae, whether it's soca, R&B, funk. That all started underground, and somebody said, "Whoa!" Somebody who could take it to the next level, and/or the thing became so big that you just no longer could ignore it. So that's where this thing I see. So I see it going mainstream, is what I see. You're starting to see a little bit here, a little bit there. So, for example, they're now bringing it up at the Grammys. You have mainstream artists like Terry Hunter and others who are making songs and taking mixes from people who are in the mainstream and reimagining those songs. As a matter of fact, reimagining those songs, I'm going to hold that thought for a minute, and I just want to give you some examples a little bit later of some things I'm seeing. So that's what I see. Choc, any any other thoughts on where this thing is headed?
I see it becoming just as big as the other genres out there. You know, more so because you have your, you know, I mean, we just went through with Beyonce coming out with a house music style of a album, Drake.
Mm-hmm.
And I say they touched on it. They
Mm-hmm.
really didn't get, you know, deep into it. I don't feel. I think they just touched into it. I think once somebody is going to go against the grain, you know, be the one that steps out and really get, you know, reach out to the house music producers, legends, or even the ones that's, you know, up and coming, to really get that feel. And I just feel one of the stars out there now is just going to have to say, look, I want to use this guy.
Mm-hmm.
I want to use that guy. I want to use this guy. And really, once that happens, then it's blown out the water.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I feel like teasing it, you
Mm-hmm.
know, because coming from back in the day, you know, they only played it for like an hour
Right.
on the radio.
Mm-hmm.
And I think now it's more. I mean, I haven't listened to the radio like that in some time, so I don't know what they do after the the shows as you know, like they did back in the day. But I just really feel it's just going to take one. Like, I mean, if Beyonce would have reached out to, it would have been out the water.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I look at it as how even R&B, you know, crossed over to pop,
Mm-hmm.
you know, remixing, and then the artists started actually doing songs with the producers, because that's another whole nother bracket, a whole nother brand.
Mm-hmm.
That's they can make money from. You just don't have to do the remixes. You can actually do tracks like that. So
Mm-hmm.
I think once they take that recipe, that we won't be having this conversation anymore. Just be in the repertoire of that's what's on the dial, and everybody's just listening to.
Mm-hmm. Hey, this is really not new when you think about it, because let's remember Elvis. Elvis didn't start mainstream. He started, and his music and his style came out of the black clubs.
Yeah.
And then, of course, they did something with it to make it, maybe in their estimation, a little more palatable to, say, the mainstream audience.
Right.
Yeah, that's not new. I mean, and part of the proof that all people have listened to, I'm going to say, black music all along, is because, I do weddings and events. Matter of fact, I got another one coming up, another wedding for someone that lives on the other side of the tracks on October 22nd, plus tomorrow, Saturday, got another event. But remember, I'll play songs from the 50s, and they know the music.
Yeah.
So this is not new. Okay, so I'll tell you, in my mind, one of the biggest crossover times was in the 90s. When in the 90s, when I was playing, like, for example, I've always played on both sides of the tracks. So when I played in the suburban schools, originally, when you were in the suburban schools, you played suburban music.
Mm-hmm.
But something happened in the 90s where the suburban kids wanted the urban music. And I can remember doing this bar mitzvah. Bar mitzvah is the young man that becomes of age.
Mm-hmm.
And this is like one of the first times I noticed it. But I've done many since then, and the music is always is mostly hip hop. to be honest with you. Some R&B, but it's mostly hip hop.
Right.
Okay, but they were, they were. I remember Luke Skywalker was big at the time, and he had 2 Live Crew. But you know they are Jewish, so they called themselves 2 Live Jews. so, I mean, you know, house music is black music, and it's not new that people universally have accepted this type of music. So I see it growing more and more and more and more. And again, if you go, let's say if you're in northern New Jersey, it's mostly African American, it's mostly black and brown, some brown, but mostly African American. Northern New Jersey, certain urban spots. But if you go to New York, it's a whole different flow. It's like everybody's all over the place. There's no like particular group. Now, hey, if you go to Europe, you know, the people don't look like us in general. All right, I'm not to say if you go to Japan, where it's big too, you know they don't look like us. So I see this thing growing, and I think a big part of it is as we continue to do these events and more people come out, then I see.
I got a
here.
question.
Sure.
Because I'm hearing it from you, hearing it from other people as this thing is growing. But you just mentioned different places and areas around the world where this house music is big. So what are your thoughts on why it's not big in the States like that? Because you just mentioned what, China, Europe, you know, I mean, you've done plenty of interviews where I sat and listened with people that was from the UK and stuff like that, where they saying that the house music is on the radios and playing frequently like R&B and stuff over here is.
Well, I have a few thoughts on it. Maybe none of them is the silver bullet, but I will say for the most part, I think the number one issue is we're not checking if we want to play it on the radio stations, we're not checking them like that and say, hey, look, where's our music? You know, you paying it, you know, 2 o'clock in the morning. I mean, 1 o'clock. Come on now. Like, why aren't you playing it prime time? Now, watch this. Now, there's people that are up that, but insomniacs are up that time, people who have to be up that time, I don't know. I'm just making that up, obviously. But I say the number one reason is because we don't insist on it. We're not sending them letters, emails, calling them up and say, hey, listen, you're ignoring us. We want to hear house music.
Now,
that's what I think is the number one thing. Now, there's some other stuff that goes with it, such as we need to move money. In other words, I just want to finish this thought. You know, at one point, there were certain people who couldn't play in certain leagues, professional leagues. We all know that. But somebody said, hey, wait a minute. These cats are off the hook. I want to win. Listen, look, y'all can keep your prejudices and all that kind of stuff to yourself. But what? Here's the deal. I want to win. And these cats, for example, in the Negro League, these cats were off the hook. They were like, look, I want these guys on my team. Listen, these guys could play. If, you know, at one point, then people of color didn't get the quarterback position. But then somebody said, I want to win.
right.
You know, listen, let's get the best of the best. You know, let's not eliminate and exclude a whole bunch of people. Now, I'm not saying that the house music thing is a color thing. What I am saying, and you know, you could argue there's lots of different ways you can prove that is the case in scenarios, but I think the major thing on that side after, first of all, we don't push it, and the second thing is they don't see the money in it, because there's people out here who don't care about any of that. They just want to get paid, and they don't see the money, and we don't share the economic impact that we have. So I did an interview with the mayor of Roselle, Donald Shaw, who we haven't released yet. But one of the things he mentioned is the economic impact of bringing in hundreds and thousands of people, of peaceful people. Mm-hmm. So that conversation is not being had. So those are two things I see right off the bat. But I'm sorry. But go ahead.
Louis Vega. Alex Louis Vega, that's house music. Alex Sensation is Latin. Has anybody reached out to him, of you knowing, on the dial to basically have a residency on the station?
Well, he's on BLS. He's been on for quite a few years.
Okay. But what time?
Yeah, but like I say, it's like 12 o'clock at night.
12 o'clock at night.
1 o'clock.
So
come on now.
Not prime time.
No, I mean, come on. Average Joe or Jane, average Billy Bob, by 12 o'clock, they shut it down unless they have a reason to be up.
You know what I think is what has to happen as well. Just like they started 94.7, the old school, throwbacks. I think somebody's just going to have to step up and put a team together and make that happen. Because I can't foresee that it wouldn't work. If it's working all the way around the globe except for here per se, where they only giving the graveyard shift.
For the most part.
I mean, that's when we caught it. I've been out of school for 30 plus years. So after we finished doing our parties, that what was on. But I and as much money as these cats are making is definitely a draw. Yeah. It's just, I don't know.
Well,
I don't. The more I think about it, it's just like really,
well, again,
because I mean, like you said, it's night and day. You could go down to Passaic. It's nothing but house music.
Well, Newark area. Essex County.
Essex County. Like you said, New York. Jersey, it's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
Well, again, in order for us to get on the radio, we really have to bombard the radio stations and say,
shout out to
look.
Quado. I know DJ Qua.
That's what he said.
Right.
He said that. But it's a little tougher. Listen, one of the things that we always do, and let me say, me included, we say they should. And as the old saying goes, we is they.
Yeah.
That, and then you gotta show the economic impact that it's having and the economic impact it can have. So I think if you get those two things going, there's some other stuff too, because there's certainly relationships, the networking things in place. So if you had to say those three things, when I say networking, I mean my ability to get on the phone with somebody who's a program person and say, listen, I need you to take a chance on this. Because you know what? In the end, they're not there to break music. They're in the business of making money. And they're in the business of selling ads and promotions and all that kind of stuff. That's how they make money. So if they thought that they could make a ton of money, you'd hear house music. If people were jumping up and down and say, listen, cut the baloney and put our music on instead of 2 o'clock in the morning on a graveyard shift, okay, fine, you can have it there, but we also need it in the daytime. Well, they did some things like in the afternoons with Marley Marl doing some things. But we needed a prime time when people are coming home from work and they need energy and they
Right.
need to feel like spiritual, whatever. We need to have it then. So, again, in my mind, okay, if you want to have three things, then it's number one is we got to jump up and down with them. Number two is we got to show the economic impact. And number three is we got to get our networking game up. That's what I see. Anyway, that's what I see. So, so let me ask you this. Here's some things that I see happening in the house music community now. These are some little trends that I see. Okay, I'm starting to see video walls. No, let me rephrase that. I'm going to say bigger and better light shows.
Light shows?
Yeah, bigger and better light shows.
Okay.
I'm starting to see that more. And because I can remember they had the little, I don't know, little small pars and stuff on the
stage.
Yeah, on the stage. But now you're starting to see trusses with intelligent lighting, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now, what I haven't seen with the intelligent lighting yet is a programmer. I believe you're going to see that. What I mean by that is that the way most of it is done now is like set it and forget it. So in other words, they put the hit a pattern, and then it just goes back and forth, up and down, whatever. But I haven't seen a light programmer yet, and I believe that's going to be coming. Okay, and again, let's go back to the video wall for a minute. So the video walls you're starting to see that. For example, you saw it in Roselle. I saw Shonda CJ was down in Baltimore. Shout out to her. And they had a video wall on the front board and had her name, whatever. They they could program it. So I want to just take a minute and just give our mutual friend Henny G a big shout out, because he's been pushing and talking that up for 5 years. He got maybe one or two to try it,
Right.
but after that, little by little, you start to see it. He's the first one I see do that and push it. But now the other thing I will tell you is as the price of it comes down, because when he started doing it in the beginning, it was like $3K, $4K to get somebody to do that.
Right.
But now the numbers are dropping. So I believe you're going to see more and more video walls as a new thing. And for those who don't know the video walls are the big screens. They look like giant TV screens, and they'll have the name of the artist, or they'll have some promotion or advertising on it. You're going to see that more and more. I'm talking about not necessarily like, Billy Bob's doing a little thing in the backyard or whatever, but I'm talking about when you start to see the festivals. That's one thing I'm seeing.
Right.
All right. Any points you would like to make? And I'll tell you some other stuff.
I think that just goes into the promoter or the people that's involved with putting on the event, as far as what type of atmosphere they want to have.
Mm-hmm.
Once again, shout out to Henny G. He taught me a lot since the age of 19. And I called him recently, had to ask him some questions on engineering.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, it's funny how we all started from DJing, and we gone into different aspects of it.
Mm-hmm.
With it's just the growth.
Mm-hmm.
But I think once again, if you got somebody that goes out and looks and studies these things, or even looks at the concerts and all the stuff that's going on, where the customer, the people, they pay the money to go see the artist. They go pay to see a show.
Mm-hmm.
Look at Beyonce. I'm gonna keep coming back to Beyonce because she dropped a video of the concert that just ended over the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And you know the prices was outrageous for them tickets, but the people went.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, as far as with the promoters, here it goes back to the promoters to say, well, you know, what can I do to basically stand out from the rest of the people or the rest of the events that's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And I look at it, you know, in the same way. You know, there's a bunch of DJs. We play pretty much the same music, but what's going to make me stand out more, you know, a little bit more or more than this DJ or that DJ, or you know. And sometimes you just have to take that stand, you know. Like you said, I mean, I remember going to work with Henny, and we setting up TVs and, you know, this and that, and it did make the venue or the place look different from just your regular party. Like you said, they just set up lights. They program it, and that's that, and they leave. And maybe that's all they can do, you know, right at this moment, you know, for that. But hopefully, you know, more income will come in, and then they have actually people that, you know, a company that could come in and really blow it out. And for people, because people, you know, they remember stuff like that. You know, oh, we went this time, and they had this, they had that. This was going on, that was going on, this was going on. So, you know, it's just the growth. I feel the growth of it. And
Well, I will tell you, again, let's go back with Henny G. He and I have been DJing, really. Now,
you know, I was about to say something, but I'm
now, you know,
I ain't gonna say nothing.
I only publicly admit to being 26 years old, all right? So I'm going to say that was my older brother, all right? But, hey, look, we were running video screens with trusses and light shows, and they used to have the music videos and stuff like that. We were running them back in the 80s.
Wow.
We were running them back in the 80s, so way before a lot of this stuff, which is like gone a lot of mainstream now, but we were running them with the, you remember they used to have the videos that, yeah, you know, like the videos that came on MTV, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Well, we would bring in huge screens and stuff like that. In addition to that, we would show the people on the screens that were in the audience.
Right.
And people loved that.
Right.
So, but we were doing that back in the 80s.
Okay.
So we've always been on that, I'm going to say cutting edge. And then too, like with photo booths and selfie stands, you know, we were on that, I don't know, 10 or 15 years or something like that. We've been on that for a long time. You know, and part of it is because I don't want to sound like, ooh, no, that's because, you know, I you know, try to keep myself educated. We go to events where new stuff is breaking, new technology, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
So again, we were on that. Again, if you want to go back to video screens, now they're video walls, but we were on video screens back in the 80s.
Right. Right.
We were on the photo booths 10, 15 years ago. The selfie stands, that's maybe 5-7 years. We were right on that right in the beginning. And I'm using more of that in my events. I'm using selfie machines, photo booths, and all kind of stuff like that. You know, for example, we have several events coming up during the holidays, and you know, we have a combination of photo booths and selfie stands. So we're doing all, you know, like I say, so we've been on that. So I see these things happening as we go more and more. People become aware, and it becomes more affordable. I mean, because we were like on it when it was super expensive.
Right.
Not to say it's not expensive now, because it is. I mean, a selfie machine is like $4,000 to $5,000. So not cheap. But
it's not cheap.
No, it's not cheap, but I'm just saying. Yeah. Then a few other things that I see happening. the sound systems. The sound systems are different. They're going to, and more people are running active amps instead of passive. In terms of their setups, their speakers. More and more people are running
Powered.
Yeah, the powered speakers. I know. I stopped running like amps. I don't know, 8-10 years ago, maybe more. I got the RCFs, and once I got the RCFs, forget about it. I wasn't carrying that extra stuff anymore. So that I see happening, and you're seeing that more and more happen with this. Another thing that you're gonna see happen, I see. I'm gonna say a bad word right now. Controllers versus decks. There are some people who are vehemently against controllers, but I need to tell you, that's the way. I see that happening, and you gotta remember.
All right, sound systems. I do both.
Mm-hmm.
One of my sound systems is ran by Crown amps,
Mm-hmm.
the newer amps,
Mm-hmm.
and then I have a self-powered system that I take out for my mobile jobs.
Mm-hmm.
I think with that, it's just easier.
Mm-hmm.
It's less stuff to carry because the amplifiers is in the speakers,
Mm-hmm.
which technically you're still carrying speakers and amplifiers, but it's together.
Mm-hmm.
The controllers.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, once again, it's easier.
Mm-hmm.
And this is just my opinion.
Mhm.
It's easier to grab. It's one thing. I always said I have one in the studio for the DJs that come in. But my thing is, if something goes wrong with it, then you have to send the whole thing in to get fixed.
That's a drawback. Right?
And if you're a DJ that DJs a lot here and there, this and that, it's not like a needle going, from back in the days where you just replace the needle and keep it going.
Mm-hmm.
If that's your only controller that you have, then you got to pray to God that nothing happens to it,
Uh-huh.
And I don't want to sound like the growth of the art of DJing, even with a lot of the stuff that they do now, the mashups and all that. We all know they wouldn't be able to do that if it was still with the records and the turntables and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it has its advantages.
Mm-hmm.
I also feel that the DJs nowadays would never get that feel of vinyl. The whole thing to play with vinyl. I mean, getting up in there in age, of course, I would rather now just throw 2-3 hard drives in my bag. One for backup just in case something happens. It's easier. You don't have to carry all those crates.
Mm-hmm.
But coming from that era, it's just like it's a different sound. It's a different,
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it's growing on me.
Mm-hmm.
But I still use both.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, my opinion, again, whatever you're comfortable with. I never heard a dancer or a listener say, "Hey, what are you playing on?" Yeah, I'm not saying somebody's never curious or another.
Say, what are you playing on?
Yeah, what are you playing? Are you playing on a controller or that? I'm
not saying somebody's never curious or another.
I don't know. I'm not saying that that no one has ever said, "Hey," I think more DJs, sometimes promoters, are concerned about what you're playing. Now, keep in mind though, it's certainly a lot more convenient.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can do on the best control, not even the best controllers, you can do anything you can with the controllers that you could do on decks. But wait a minute, here's the thing. So, and we talked about this last week. You know, for the guys that are insisting on decks, I mean, you get the 3,000s now in A9. You're looking at 7, 8, 10 grand by the time you get everything set up with the wires and you get the cases, the proper cases, and this. Hey, listen.
The mixer.
You look at all that. So, average Joe or maybe average Billy Bob can't swing 8 to 10 grand. Or maybe they have other priorities, but they still want to play.
Right.
Should they wait now and save up 8 to 10 grand? And by the time they saved it up, something else came out.
Something else would be out.
Yeah. Or should they take that $200 or $300 and get started and see if they even like it? You know? So I think you're competing against that, and I think that a lot of people feel that if you're not running decks, that you're not authentic, you're not a real DJ, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But they said the same thing about playing turntables. If you're going to play CDs, you're not. So, but listen, I say to the same people that, look, that's the reality, but that's a trend that I see more and more, and even me, like, unless I have a reason, I'm not bringing out the decks. Are you kidding me? That stuff is heavy. I wouldn't say unmanageable, but it's almost like you have to have a second person with you. I'm not saying you can't do it, but that stuff is heavy and it's awkward. So I kind of like, given an opportunity, can I do a few more things on the CDJs? Yes, I can, only because I have the mixer, plus what I can do if I run it in Tractor, which my software of choice, I could do some more things. Right. But if I don't have to carry those decks, I carry my to-go system, and boom. And the audience will never say, Dan, you didn't do this effect. You didn't do... No, they don't even know. And they don't even care. It's like, just play the music. Matter of fact, depending on the audience, you don't even have the beat mix. Just put it with the song. Listen. All I want to know is I want to hear my girl.
Yeah, the only ones that do that is the DJs or up and coming DJs. Mm-hmm. Some of them with me, they'll come and just look, and then I look at them first to see, all right, you want to request something or, and then they say, oh no, I'm just looking at your setup. I say, oh okay. Then they start asking questions. Yeah, but no, I mean, the average person don't worry about that. They just want the music to play, regardless of what you're playing it on.
Yeah. Some other trends I see, all right, and this is not new, but I'm seeing more and more people come out with the cowbells and the gong things. Matter of fact, last night I saw a gentleman, Billy, had not only did he have the cowbells, but he also had this gong thing that he was doing, and then he also now another thing that I'm seeing. I'm starting to see. I actually saw two people so far. I'm gonna call them jumpers until I find out what the real name is. Bottom line is it's like it's a shoe obviously, but it has this like rubber type thing that allows you to jump up and down. It's almost like I don't know, feet trampolines. Anyway,
like a spring in it.
Yeah, but it's no spring. It's just it's rubber, but it's hard rubber, and it allows it to go up and down, and they dance like that. So I'm seeing that. Another thing that I'm seeing, what's becoming really big, I see, is the fans that pop. I don't know the correct name of them, but they're like fans. They go snap. They go broop, broop. And the first time I saw that is about 4 or 5 years ago. I forgot the lady's name. We're friends on Facebook, and she was rocking that, and everybody was checking. Now, I see more and more ladies rocking that, and then now, last night, I saw a guy rocking one of those. 2 of them, matter of fact. Then, the thing that I'm seeing now with that is that they're starting to get to the point where they have a couple people who have them, and they rock them like they're in a band or something, to the music. So those are some things that I see coming. Anyway, last thing, and then we're going to wrap it up and go into the Shazam Free Zone, is getting younger people involved. I want to give a big shout out to Amir, who just did a video. I think it was for his class or something like that. But he did a video. It's kind of like talking about the history of house music, his love for it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so I just a big shout out to him. But again, we're going to, I believe, see younger people come in more and more. It's inevitable. As people, I'm going to say, instead of age out, I'm going to say as they rock out, then it's going to make room for some of the others. Because, I mean, to be honest with you, and if we're honest, it's very hard to break into those circles. It's very hard. And either you've got to have okay, let's start off with you got to have the goods. There's no getting around that. But also, you've got to have the relationships, in my opinion, to get in. It's very, very hard to penetrate those circles because, I mean, just like you said, for the most part, we're listening. Not now. Let me clear it up. Let me say this again. They're not playing the exact same music in the exact same order in the exact same way. That's not. But for the most part, we know the music. Most people want to dance to familiar music. They can sing, dance, whatever. So they play familiar music. That's not to say that individual DJ is not way more advanced than that, but he or she is trying to rock that crowd. So they know familiar is important. All right. Okay. You have a lot, and not all, you got a lot of the same DJs on the same cards. So one of the things I see happening, I see that continuing, but I do see maybe somebody here and there starting to break in. But again, you can pick up any card, you can throw them up in the air and play the ground, and I would say at least 7 out of 10 of the DJs or the performer you're going to recognize because they've been on so many other cards. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. Right. I don't want to sound like that, but I do see us going to continue that trend, and then again, there'll still be someone here and there getting on that's not part of that. I'm not going to... I'm going to say inner circle till I can come up with a better word.
Inner circle.
Yeah, till I come up with a better word. I see cruises happening. And again, you get the cruises, and they're all headliners in their own right. Mm-hmm. You're not seeing a person with a lot of talent. They just don't do it. And I understand it, because you know what? You want your ticket to rock. You're trying to sell out your event. So you ask yourself, well, who can I get that I know that people are loved, people are popular, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And that's what they do. So I see that continuing. Some breaks here and there. Some younger people here and there. Not many, but I do see that happening.
All right.
Anyway, so listen. Any other thoughts before we wrap it up?
As far as with the younger people, I think the way that things are now, and maybe this is just my thoughts, and I just see it from this aspect. I think, to me, they have a better chance of getting into that group due to the way that social media is rolling. Because they can have their own group.
Yeah, hey, it's going to go there.
And with them having their own group and the group making noise, then it draws attention. So, once it draws attention, then let's say one of them heavy hitters goes on and sees it. Here we go with a whole nother different bracket of people. So, I think it's much easier than back in the day where we didn't have the internet. And you had to actually, it was harder, I believe, to do it back then than now.
Right. Let me just add one other thing to this. I hear DJs say, because I interview a lot of DJs, and as I said, yeah, pretty much for the most part, it's pretty much the same lineup. But I, as I like to call them, the usual suspects. But I often say, hey, well, listen, like nobody owes anybody anything.
No.
They don't have to put you on. It's their ticket. They can put on who they want. They're spending their time, their energy, and their money. So they got to decide who they want and who they think make their card pop. On the other hand, if that person was setting up an event, he or she would put on who he or she thinks would make their card pop. And they have the right because they're spending their time, energy, and money. So, now, it's not easy. So let me say it again. It's not easy. But no one's stopping the individual who's complaining to do his own thing or to do her own thing, especially now with free access to social media.
Yeah.
Is it easy? No. Will a lot of people listen to you? Probably not, especially in the beginning. Not checking for you. But if you love doing this, then
you still got to create your buzz.
Yeah, but if you love doing this, then you hear me. I'm constantly talking about the numbers, but at the same time, you can't quit, or I don't quit because of the numbers. I just keep working at it, and I keep doing what I do. And my belief is that the people who are checking for you will hear your voice. Anyway. So listen, any final thoughts before we wrap this up and come in for a soft landing?
I think we just gotta, keep pushing it.
Mm-hmm.
Push. I mean, as we see, rap music celebrating 50 years.
Mm-hmm.
And in the beginning they didn't accept rap.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a push. And then once they started getting into the ears of other people, and as you said, that well, how can we make money from this? Look at it now. Rap is influenced so much.
Mm-hmm.
So there is hope for house music to become more. Be more out in the public than what it already is, and getting its just due. And one thing, I never knew that there was so many different genres of house. From me, talking to people and they're explaining to me. But that's a whole nother conversation. But I think the really big top dogs really need, like you said, need to make some noise on, getting those primetime spots. As if with the other, or if that's not the case, then, getting prime times, getting people that can make it happen, to just give it its own radio station. I said 94.7 before, where that went from having no commercials. It was just straight music, drops by MC Light, straight music, to now where they got a whole lineup of people, shows and things, so it takes, you have to always start somewhere. Even if you start online, let's face it, this is what we're doing, online radio station. So honestly, there's no reason why that, there can't be a 24-hour house music radio station. All the big dogs come together. I mean, follow the blueprint. Basically, the blueprint is already set. Follow the blueprint.
Yep.
That's all you got to do. It's going to take time. Everything, like you said, everything took time. but eventually it got there, So, I mean, that's just my final thoughts.
All right.
I really would, like to see that happen on a bigger scale. Because, I mean, who knew that rap was going to be what it is today?
Right.
You just had kids from their neighborhoods rapping about, they wasn't thinking about no merch. They was out there buying other people's merch, but then it made the people more popular because of these kids running out. I mean, look at Timbaland. Timbaland's,
Right.
Even for him to say what he said, but still, Timbaland's was worn. Adidas, Run DMC, them Adidas, and them, Lifetime. So it's, and as we see when those companies and people gets behind them, to really make it sell, that's the blueprint.
Right. And hey, and you can look at hip hop, rock and roll. You can
Rock
the
and roll,
blueprint.
yeah.
The
All
blueprint's
of it.
already there.
Yeah.
One last thing too. I just like to say two closing thoughts. Okay. Again, we were talking a little bit earlier about the usual suspects. Now, I've interviewed quite a few of them, but what a lot of people don't realize is how they got to where they are, and they don't realize that they had to go through a whole lot, and they had stuff that didn't work out.
Right.
You only see, most people want the baby, but they don't want the labor pains. And if you were to sit down with some of these people and they told you about the labor pains, you would say, maybe that's not for me. But I mean, so in defense of them, they've worked very hard to get to where they are and to stay there. And the only reason I'm saying that is because if you want to aspire to that, you can do it. You can do it. Not easy, but you could do it. You can do it. And again, the next time you decide that, hey, I deserve this, I deserve that, go talk to some of these guys.
Right.
Go talk to some of these guys. So I only say that because I just want you to know, if you're into this and you want to make this music thing happen, there is a path to follow. And again, most of us only see them when they're on top, but we don't see them climbing that ladder and how many times they fell off the ladder and how somebody. So it's just, there's all that going on. Anyway, so in the end, house music is on the rise. Like anything else, there's peaks and valleys and things like that, but overall we're moving up. All right, folks, we're gonna go into the Shazam Free Zone next. I've got all new music we play in Shazam Free Zone. I don't make a judgment on it. We just play it and say it. Or somebody say, you can make a decision about what you want to move on. But I suggest that you get on this house music thing. It's a wonderful thing. You can always reach us, soulfulhousenation@gmail.com. You can inbox me, text me, call me, whatever. Hey, this on October 14th, we're going to have a special night. It's going to be a little appreciation night for me. Thank you, Mac Attack. We're going to have some fun. We're going to have some great entertainment. And we're going to have some food, too. How about that? But I got to tell you, the food is first come, first serve. All right, ladies and gentlemen, DJ Dan, Soulful House Nation, coming to you live from the 8th floor. We're going to go into the Shazam Free Zone. We're going to lead off with the song Dennis F. and Real People. It's Angela Johnson on the vocals, called Can't Stop. Again, all new music coming up till 3 o'clock. All right, ladies and gentlemen, DJ Dan, Soulful House Nation, coming to you live from the 8th floor. Get ready, get ready, get ready.